Morning YouTube. Mod North was on the official old school RuneScape podcast. This is, the interview we've all been waiting for, where he fully rips off the mask and he reveals everything about all the corruption that's happening. No. I honestly have not watched this at all, so I'm very excited. Apparently this was recorded October 1st. So a lot of their podcasts, I feel like, are just like very, very backlogged. I mean, one of them was like 6 months prior and then they released it. So this one was recorded October 1st, and we're going to watch this, and I might just give a little bit of my own thoughts as we go along. So I'm excited, and we are live right now. So if you guys want to be a part of the live chat, go check me out on Twitch and YouTube, linked in the description. Let's give it a listen.
If I could invest a ton in old school RuneScape, or that same amount of resource into building something new, 10 times out of 10, I would invest it in old school RuneScape. Next year's roadmap is insane.
He hates RS3.
By far the most exciting year I've ever seen. Yeah, what would you do today if you're in my job?
Oh, I was not ready for that.
Damn. What a teaser.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the official Old School RuneScape podcast, where we get to chat shit with JMods and creators alike. I'm Mod Aiza.
And I'm Mod Sween, and this is our chance to get to know the person behind the crown, hear their stories and hear their experiences. Today we're joined by perhaps the most special guest at Jagex.
Oh, me, Mod North.
What?
When you said you were going to say chat shit, I didn't think you were actually going to say the words "we're going to chat shit."
Oh yeah, that's
Isn't that so funny? Like, I just find it so hilarious that you can almost tell, like, in the first episode, Mod Aiza was like, we're here to chat shit and all this. And then, like, it feels like the chatting shit part, like, it's a part of his intro now, just like the, all right, welcome to the Sae Bae cast. Now Aiza is, like, obligated to say it, but it is just mildly uncomfortable because it has a swear word in it. So I wonder if he'll ever change that
the
up.
intro,
We'll see.
Okay.
That's how it goes.
Whole
There's
new
precedent
world.
because we recorded 2 pilot episodes and it had
Mod North is like, this is not the way to start. You swore, man. Like, you just swore.
in it, so we maintained it.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
all
just
right.
stuck with it. But thank you for joining us.
Not at all.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, good. Busy day today, but yeah, good.
What's
How
been
are you?
on your plate?
Oh, loads of stuff. We've got a load of the team in today. So we're all in person in the office, which is always a bit hectic. It means lots of face-to-face meetings, but I prefer those. Got some big decisions coming up that I'm sure we'll talk about during the podcast that we're getting close to the final line on. And so there's a bit of a rush towards making sure all of the data is what it should be, all the people know what the right decisions are, yada, yada. Meeting rush mostly.
So I'm just keen to understand how you first learned about RuneScape. What got you hooked on the game? Because I know you're a pretty avid player yourself.
Yeah. I was sat in a community gym when I was 11 years old with the rest of my family. Parents were still busy getting showered and changed after a pool session or something, and I was on a communal PC with an Apple mouse that had one button, couldn't right click, important to remember this for the next bit.
Yeah.
And I went to miniclip.com to try and play Robot Wars. Didn't get there, got to RuneScape and got to Tutorial Island to the point where you have to right click a rock to prospect it. I couldn't right click. So I just hammered left click repeatedly walking around, and for some reason that in my sort of forming brain was a moment that stuck, and 20 years later, here we are.
Are there any other...
By the way, those Apple mouses, I remember in computer class in school, like, they would have those shitty Apple mice with, like, the one, they thought it was a sleek design, but I fucking hated those mice with the little, like, ball in the middle that had to move everything. The scroll wheel is just so much more superior.
memories that you have from your early childhood that are RuneScape related that really stick out?
White Gold Mystic. I killed Chaos Druids to get Onids, unidentified herbs, the OGs will remember. And I killed those and sold them for 1k each, I think mostly in Edgeville Bank and Falador Park, until I had 1 million GP, which was about 4 times the price of White Gold Mystic, but that's what I bought with it. And that was my first real achievement in life, I think.
That's a pretty awesome goal. Like, getting 1 mil back then, that was quite a lot of actual cash.
That was a lot of cash.
It took a lot of determination. I remember being like, I need this many logs, I need to fish this many lobsters, and I never quite reached the goal because I'd always sell early and then buy something I didn't want.
I was merching Barrow's gear. That was the way I think that money was made after that. And then I got a little bit into staking with rune knives. And
oh, no. He got into staking. Oh, God. We knew this guy was corrupt. No, he's not corrupt, but he was young. He's moved on since then, right?
The exposure. But yeah, tons of
to admit that like you had like a staking phase. I mean, shout out for being honest,
memories. I can remember Halloween very vividly for some reason. I was killing blue dragons downstairs in the Heroes Guild. Random memories that probably were formative for reasons that I don't really understand.
Mod North's performance so far as CEO 1 through 10. It's hard to really say. I would need to see the things that he has sort of decided as CEO that like are changes. I mean, the game is thriving, but I don't know how much of that has to do with him at the moment. You know what I mean? But I don't know. 6 or 7, maybe 8, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7.
And probably never will, but they are.
So I had the pleasure yesterday of driving Mod Mank to and from the office. We live quite close by.
Oh, yeah.
And he mentioned, I said, we've got some podcasts coming up, including yourself.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that you two used to play or chat on Skype.
Yeah, he's a snitch.
Just RuneScape friends and stuff.
Whoa.
He's a snitch.
Yeah, he's a snitch. Can't be trusted. No, yeah, we did actually. We used to go PK and he was much, much better than me. He was like doing 1 HP.
This dude is a staker, a PKer. Now, we're going to have a Mod Jed V2. No, surely not. Surely he's just experienced that and then he's decided, PKing and staking was not the way.
Darrock stuff back when I was still like Sarah Sword specking people. But yeah, he's an OG.
Yeah,
OG.
he is.
And even then he was loaning me a mil to get back on my feet when I was 12 or whatever it was.
That's really
all those
cool.
Years ago, yeah. He's still ridiculously good.
Who were we talking to? It must have been Boaty. We were having a discussion around like PvPers and he was saying, unprompted, he was like, Manx, he'd be wrecked now if he tried PKing now. The people are so good compared
I
to...
bet he wouldn't. I bet he would. I bet he's still got it.
Mank
We
is
should
still
do
really
that.
good.
That'd be great.
We should set that up. Staff versus community.
A staff community.
We've always
gauntlet.
spoken about
We
something
should
like
do
this.
that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but every time we speak about it, I'm not going to lie, I'm always like one of the ones to be like, I don't want to be involved because people will see how bad I am.
That sounds like a you problem, mate.
Yeah, I
to be
know.
honest.
I know it is. It is.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
I'm here to protect the staff. What if there are other people that feel the same way?
Yeah. I would back Manked, I think, in a 1v1 tournament structure. I think he could still take it.
I think you do really well.
Give him a week
He's good.
of prep. And I think he'd be there.
Mank is the guy that literally he went undefeated on one of those like LAN tournaments that they hosted and streamed on Twitch.
So you got like a...
Like you don't just lose that skill. He could be rusty, but you give him a couple weeks to like warm up, or even a week, or even a couple days. He'd warm up. He'd be good.
history past
I actually do wonder how much Mank actually does play these days, though.
with RuneScape. How about present? Are you still able to play much?
Not nearly as much as I'd like.
Yeah.
AFK stars a bit
Sure.
sometimes. But to be totally honest, my week is 7 days long and it's a lot of work, a lot of travel. Tiny violin, I love it. I love the job. But it's hard to get like lean in gameplay sessions.
Yeah,
So
thank
like
you,
once a
Tefty.
month or once every other month, I might
Welcome
get
back.
an evening with some friends to run some Toa or some Tob or
Yeah.
Chambers or something. But for the most part, it's AFK, which is good. I got 99 woodcutting recently. I'm at 90, I think 4 or 5 mining. Got 99 fire making recently. So I think about 22.15 or 22.17, something
Okay.
like that. It's getting up.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
that's
getting there.
Someone's going to
respectable.
find your account
Pre-sailing
name
too.
from those details
Yeah,
now.
plus minus 10,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
I remember the first time you were introduced, it was like everyone was going rabid over the high scores to try and find your account.
Yeah. We have an internal high scores, right?
Yeah.
And, I think I'm currently 18th or 19th.
Ooh,
overall.
okay.
So it's not bad. It's respectable out
It's
of.
quite competitive.
I actually want to see those internal high scores. Is there any guy that's... I'm just wondering, are we just basing it off of XP? Is there anybody like over a bill XP on the team? Like, surely not, right? Or are there? Who knows?
Leaderboard, that is, to be fair, especially in the old school team.
When you get to the top, though, it's like.
Yeah, I mean, there's
a lot of XP
Mod
there.
Rai, who is going for his 200 mil alls
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
pretty
Oh,
much
Jesus.
untouchable.
Yeah.
But there's some fierce competition, and people get pretty feral
Yeah.
when it comes close to outranking someone. So,
Yeah.
you've kind of touched on it a little bit in terms of, I asked you what you've been up to today,
Hmm.
but I feel like it's a really rare opportunity you get to sit down with the CEO of any company, yet alone the CEO of, Jagex Studios, where we work as well.
Yeah.
And there are probably people listening that have no idea what it means to be a CEO.
Hmm.
So I was wondering if you could maybe give us a little bit of an insight into what a typical day in the life of a CEO looks like.
Yeah, for me, it starts probably 8 a.m., something like that. That's when I start to look at Slack and email and see what's happened overnight. And it finishes somewhere around 11 p.m. most days. And so it's pretty full on, and the whole day tends to be full of stuff, but it's stuff that I enjoy. And so it doesn't feel like a slog. It feels like I'm immersed in the thing that I love most. So it's I enjoy the job. It's not for everybody. It is very taxing. It takes up a lot of your time. There's a lot of responsibility for a lot of people. But generally speaking, it's a full-on job that I think can be unbelievably rewarding. I think the way that I like to put it is, if you can imagine within your team, if there's a big drama that needs escalating, it normally escalates one level up. And then if it's sufficiently dramatic, it escalates further and further and further. And right at the top of that is me. But it's not just your team that's escalating things up. It's also every other team. So most of the things that land on my desk tend to be quite meaty, quite sizable, either very big opportunities or very big potential problems or big risks or big ideas. Which means that almost everything that comes on my desk in the average day is well worth a good amount of attention, which keeps it really interesting.
So it sounds like a lot to have to manage all the time.
Yeah, it's a privilege though, isn't it? It's like these jobs are rare. To do this for the company that makes the games that you've loved for most of your adult life, like, it's not a complaint. I adore it. I'm the
old is
luckiest
Mod North
person I think in the building.
35?
Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that you're enjoying it.
young.
I think it makes a massive difference to have someone at the head of a company that actually, enjoys doing what they do and has a passion for it. What would you say though, with such a busy schedule, you will always protect some time for, regardless of how hectic life gets?
Yeah, I think it's spending time with my other half is the main thing. And then as much as I can, there's weekend calls that I make to my family to make sure that I don't lose complete touch and go AWOL and disappear off the grid. So spend as much time as I can with the people close to me when I can. My other half lives in Spain, so it means some travel back and forth. So there's lots of short haul flights. But apart from that, gym as much as I can. But that's one thing that's really slipped since taking this job. Finding an hour a day is suddenly hard. But that's something I'll find at some point. We'll figure out the balance.
I wish I had the same excuse. I'm just lazy.
You give me like a newfound look at, so I get either directly from you or via my manager or somebody else, always these massive ideas of things we could do, things would be really cool. And then hearing like how stacked your day is, it makes perfect sense that like you're trying to fill it with really cool things that you'd enjoy working on or enjoy seeing come to fruition.
Yeah, totally. Like it's a finite moment in time, isn't it? We only get a few really big swings.
Yeah.
And in an average year, we've got so much stuff that we're committed to before the year even begins, that the number of things that we can do outside of that structured plan is like single digits, maybe at scale. And so if you hear me sort of getting all excited about a big idea, it's normally because it's big enough to be exciting. And it's also because of the scarcity of the opportunities to do those things. And both in conjunction mean that our chats sound pretty intense, I guess. Okay. But, it comes from a good place.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah. Do you want to use this opportunity of the podcast to like start sounding some of your ideas, and then people in the comments can be like, I like this, I don't like this?
So, I mean, some of the things that I would love to do. And I think if I dropped them here, that would be unwise for you. I probably wouldn't be doing you guys any favors. I think the community versus staff thing, I will push on despite Mr. Iez's protestations. I think that's actually a really good idea. And I think we're closer to our community than pretty much any other games company in the world. Yeah. So like, let's put that to the test. And if that became like an annual thing, maybe, or a biannual sort of tournament, that'd be amazing. Maybe we make it part of a Dead Man thing, or there's some special Gielinor Games episode or something. I don't know.
Love it.
That would be amazing. What's coming up with Gridmaster, I think, is...
Yeah, I think it's worth it.
A template of the kind of thing that I would like to do a lot more of.
Cool.
I think with old school in particular, it's really hard to surprise and delight people because of the way that polling works, right? We don't get that many opportunities to do something totally unexpected in an unpolled way. And I like being able to deliver those surprises when we can. So a few more of those would be great as well.
I feel like now we've earned enough trust from the community so that they trust us to surprise them. I remember pitching the original league before we even said, hey, it's Twisted League. It's like, here's a concept of something we might do. And you can go back and look at the Reddit threads now. Why would you do this? Nobody's asking for this.
Yep.
And now it's one of the most sought after requested things.
Yeah.
And I like that we managed to build that.
That is one of I gotta say on the leagues point. I remember when Mod Kieran brought it up on some Q&A before leagues had ever been a thing. And the whole chat was like, what the fuck? Like, work on other things. What are you guys doing? There still are people that say that. I mean, I don't even play leagues, but I still think it's good for the game. But like, man, that was just a home run on steroids. And that's because we let them cook. So sometimes there is some benefit in letting the team cook.
There was a time, believe it or not, when raids were seen as not something that RuneScape does. Yeah, and that's similar to the league's point. And now I think about some of the most hyped moments of the year in any given year. And it normally includes one of those two words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is more personal curiosity. You were here at Jagex when I first joined, or roughly around a similar time.
10 years ago.
Yeah. What were you doing then? Because I'm quite unsure. I was in the player support team, so really, really far removed.
Yeah.
And even then, were you thinking like one day CEO?
No.
Okay.
Oh God, no. Are you thinking that? No, it was a different job. It was a job in the strategy team, and the job of that team at the time was to help. I mean, the company was sold, so I just sucked up a lot of my time was like making sure that process happened well.
Sure.
It was really far away from the products. It was really far away from the stuff that I really loved, as I'm sure you can tell. So I was in the right building as a player who wanted to work at this company. I was around the right people, but I wasn't necessarily doing the work that felt closest to my heart. It was important work. And it was about sort of outlining where the company goes, not the products, not the games, where the company goes in the next 5 or 10 years. And then making sure that all of our priorities and all of our resources were in the right places for that to happen. So it was quite a big job, albeit at a much more junior level. It's not totally different to this job,
Okay.
but obviously not nearly with as much responsibility.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
When was the moment you were like, I could be CEO? Was that more recent, or was it something you were kind of thinking like, or almost a pipe dream? We've asked people, and maybe we'll ask this later on, which is like, what would you do? Or what was like a dream job when you were younger? Or what else could you be doing?
So to the first part of your question, there was never a moment in time where I thought that sentence.
Okay.
It came to me rather than me coming to it.
Yeah.
The opportunity. And so I was surprised, but obviously delighted and nervous and all of the other words that you would expect on the back of an email like that. And knowing our previous CEO very, very well, Phil, who I think is a tremendous human being and has done extraordinary things to bring us to where we are for the last 8 years. My first thought was have a chat with him. So that's what I did, because ultimately it was going to be a big old handover. So that was kind of how that happened. There wasn't a moment where I thought it was going to be possible. It was a bit of a surprise. At that time, I'd been serving as a board member for the company. So above the CEO, there's a whole board of directors that are responsible for making sure the company doesn't take any crazy risks. It does the right things. It's on the right track. It's being responsible, yada, yada. And I was part of that team beforehand. And so to answer the second part of your question, if I wasn't doing this job, I'd quite like to be doing that job and staying close to what happens here. But in any case, I would like to be around this building and this team.
You jumped into being CEO at what I think it's fair to say is a pretty young age, right? Still fresh-faced, relatively young.
Relatively.
Yep.
Wrinkly head.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We want a competition. There's the competition for you. But how have you handled that in terms of the jump up, in terms of responsibility?
Yeah, there's nothing really, I think, that can prepare you for the change in job. At least that's what I believe. There's not really a great training process for doing this. It's like quite a unique sort of role. So it's been a big old change for sure. It's been a bit of cold water at times, and it's hard and stressful. I think the one benefit genuinely is that I have a really good understanding of our games and our players, being one for as long as I have. I have a really good understanding of how the business works, given that I worked here with you and both of you actually 10 years ago. And I've been in the picture in different ways for a long time. And so it felt like I had a real sort of fortunate tailwind behind me to sort of make coming into this easier.
Yep.
If I'd never played the games and I didn't know how the business was run and I didn't know what the important bits were and less important, this would be 10 times more complicated than it is. And so I think that's the way that it's happened reasonably smoothly.
Probably also partly as the reason why you were considered, for the role in that case as well.
I think so, yeah.
Is there anything that you wish, though, looking back in hindsight, someone had said to you on week one in terms of advice?
On week one, honestly, not a whole lot, because it was a baptism of fire, and that was always going to be a baptism of fire.
Okay.
I think the one bit of advice that might have been good, or the one thing I look back and wish that I'd changed, is when I first came into this role, there's a lot of pressure and expectation and weight. And I think that manifested from me as quite a maybe cold and calculating outward look. I look back to that first announcement video that I think, did you do that with me?
Potentially.
It was late night on a Sunday.
Yourself and someone from the RS team.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And it was quite a...
it
was the one before that.
Okay.
It was the one before the one that we did. And it was kind of looking down the barrel of a camera, a bit like this. And it was reading a sort of teleprompter of words that I cared about and I'd written. But it felt less human than maybe it could have. And our next one was much more off script. It was you and it was Yui.
Yes. On the couch.
On the couch,
doing
exactly.
the Q&A with you.
And the sort of, if you look at the comments of the two videos side by side, it's like this looks a bit shaky and this seems like a human being.
Yeah.
And that was a night and day shift. So if I could take anything all the way back to that first day on a Sunday night at 11 p.m, whenever that was recorded, it would have been that.
And I think that was the Sunday that RuneFest wrapped up too.
It was.
It was like,
We had lights coming back and cameras coming back from Birmingham to here to record that. It was a long weekend.
and I look back at where we are, look back at then and compared to where we are now, we're enjoying a moment that players are coining like gold and platinum age. And RuneFest was, I think, almost a turning point for us in terms of sentiment. We started the year really quite badly. We had the conjoint survey.
Yeah.
And sentiment was just beginning to recover. We didn't do anything wrong following the survey, which made players go, oh, maybe they're not evil and out to hurt us. And then RuneFest started that kind of incline. So, yeah, it's a really tough time to come into the studio.
There was a lot of heat at that time, right? And I think rightfully so on the back of the conjoint survey. I sort of went from the player side of the scrim where I was one of the unhappy ones to suddenly having all of those coming at me, thinking, oh God, that's a weird transition. But in a strange sort of way, there's a silver lining there, isn't there? Which is you get to come into the role and make it very clear what's important to you, what lines you won't cross. And it was a great opportunity to say, don't worry, folks, no MTX ever. In old school RuneScape, no advertising, etc., all the stuff that we all know is obvious. But if you don't know the person behind the lens, it's not a natural thing to be saying the first time you speak to people. It sounds a bit suspicious. But coming in against that backdrop gave, I think, all of us an opportunity to reassert what matters.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I was really grateful that we were given the opportunity to speak to you in the way that we did, and that you were open about, your intentions of what we would and wouldn't do. I think that clarity was very much needed, even though it was still a fair amount of time after the initial fallout, but the sentiment was still definitely there within the community. So,
yeah, totally.
And since that has happened, I think you've just continued to gain respect and trust from the community in the role that you've found yourself in. I see that constantly throughout the comments, and I guess how does it feel being in a position that you are that is so open to the community? I think a lot of people in studios or even in any role, right, you would never imagine a world where someone is able to just comment on you publicly and you have to see that. How do you deal with that, both the good and the bad?
How do you deal with that?
I mean, get paid for it, so
same.
Yeah.
But equally, it's
I'll make you weak for the membership.
It gave me a lot of respect, genuinely, for the kind of work that you guys do. It's not easy. The good days feel really good, and the bad days feel really bad. And I think there's probably a skill that you folks have developed, maybe more than I have at this point, at kind of mentally adjusting the highs down a bit and mentally adjusting the lows up a bit, so that you can stay balanced. Otherwise, I think there's probably a real risk that you end up flip-flopping and being too reactive, and that undermines the sense of all of the good work that happens in the studio to sort of push us in the right direction if you feel like there's some zigzagging happening or whatever. So it's it's been a roller coaster that I suspect you guys can relate to more than most. But I think the important thing, at least for me, is to sort of stay laser focused on where we're going and why we're going there. So I don't get too caught up in either the highs or the lows of the moment, whilst also being respectful of all of those thoughts and voices.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I'd probably say I do similar, to be honest, is looking at the bigger picture. I'm certainly guilty in the early years, especially of being reactive to when it came to criticisms or feedback coming through that, may have taken.
Day. So funny to look back on.
Yeah, it's funny now looking back on, but in that moment it was not funny. It was like 3 days of no sleep and I felt awful. So I've learnt my lesson to not call out the community in the way that I did back then.
Yeah, that was ballsy.
So, yeah, it was kind of ballsy. And I think you knew that it was, and you were kind of like, well, you're going to have to learn by trial of fire.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's something you can easily explain your way out of, so I wasn't concerned.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect you to do it overnight on the very first day and just stay up till like 3 a.m.
Do you know what I think made it worse?
Go on.
Was coming into the office the next day, terrified, sleep deprived.
Yeah.
To then have every member of staff that I walked past being like, oh, it's your last day. Are you getting fired? And I was just like, wait, am I actually? Holy shit.
That's it.
This is what I was paranoid about. And then actually everyone's fine. And it's like, yeah, you up there, didn't you, Ben?
Yeah. You did, yeah.
Little bit, but...
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's crazy though, isn't it? Because we have this
I know Mod North there was like, you just said the F word. Like, no, we got to bleep that one out. You can keep the shit at the beginning, but no, not the F word.
incredible privilege, which is the community of players overlaps so heavily with...
I'm going to guess right now, after this episode, the next episode that drops, Madaiza will not say where we talk shit with creators. I bet he'll change it. I bet you he'll change it. I think he got the look from Mod North, and Mod North's like, no, you can't say that.
With the people inside this building, because most of us are players
Calling
as
it.
well in some form or another, which then overlaps with the social media that you're exposed to on an evening. And like, it is engulfing
Yes.
when things are good or things are bad, and there's no escape.
Nope.
So it's it's definitely a fiery thing if you get it wrong.
Yeah, but it's good to have so many people around supporting. And
Totally.
On a lighter note, actually, you just mentioned here, right? It's all engulfing. Everyone that you know that plays the game talks about the game.
Yeah.
Now, there's a video we spoke about in the last cast where I dressed up as Yama.
Yes.
I was, the lovely red demon.
Yeah.
And I remember that you reached out to me and said that your friends' group chat was like popping off with
Yes.
them being in hysterics, like, what the hell is this? This is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I just wondered if there's kind of like any other scenarios, stories, situations of similar things happening since you've joined where, your friends are maybe, I don't know, roasting you, for example, for something you've done or anything along those lines.
Yeah, everything bad within my friendship group is entirely my fault and my fault alone.
Yeah.
Everything good is like one of you guys.
Okay.
So it's just constant shit talking. That's the real problem. It's funny. It's like an echo. Like I'll open
he swears
Reddit
too.
after
Okay, we're
work
good.
and whatever's
Never mind.
like, I don't know, something's happened or whatever. And I get the front page of Reddit telling me exactly how people feel. And then I get all of my friends who I've known for 20 years who are like my nearest and dearest who just like pile on. And so there's no escape. So I end up calling a family member. And even then if it's my brother, he'll give me the same. So it's good humored and they keep me humble for sure. But we met playing RuneScape, actually, my oldest friend group. We've been playing together for a very long time. And so it's a strange sort of thing where any decisions that get made, like normally you sort of meet up with your friends for a beer and work is left behind.
Yeah.
It's the opposite.
I was literally just about to say, I can imagine this scenario. You're having a pint with your friends and,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, so, North, what are you going to do about this?
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
seen this? Why haven't you done anything about that? And they're just prodding at you constantly. over it.
Exactly. I was doing Tob with 3 of them about, I don't know, 2 months ago. And one of them was stood at Tob Bank saying, what does everyone think about Mod North in the public chat? And I was thinking, just stop, mate. So it's private off whenever I'm AFK in.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that.
I like that. That's similar to how we do things as well, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's quite reassuring that if it goes all the way up.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest, sometimes I think it's quite like, I don't want to say draining because it's not, because I love being around you guys and having time to spend with you. But like there are times where all we will talk about is work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, talk about work. I live during work.
Yeah.
Like work is just life.
Yeah.
So that's why
What
I'm
is
hiding
life?
myself out in the garden.
Thinking a bit longer term then, and I know you love the game, you're very happy with the job, you said you're blessed. Are there any kind of more ambitions you have in the games industry or elsewhere?
No.
No?
This job is it's all consuming in a really good way. I think there's no scope for thinking about anything beyond that.
Okay.
I wouldn't want it any other way. I think if you were going to do this gig for a while, or if you were Mr. Aiza, I'd imagine that you would want to swing for the fences on the job, and there's really no room left for anything else. That's how I feel. So as a long-time player, I think lots of us imagined what would it be like if you could make the decisions when we were playing the games.
Yeah.
Like, this feels a bit like one of those opportunities. And the answer is not think about what happens next. The answer is do everything you can.
That's a great answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I want to pry more into, okay, so your mind is firmly where we are now.
Yeah.
And you mentioned where we're going.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about that. I kind of hear in company live streams and like really formal presentation settings, your kind of goal for the future. Thinking a bit more informally because we're just a couple of guys chatting on a podcast.
Yeah.
Where would you see old school going, or not just old school, but like the RuneScape franchise, Jagex, the studio?
Oh God, there's a lot of answer in there that I could give. For old school, the honest answer is you folks know better than I do where it should go. I obviously have my own thoughts. What I do know is more community interaction, bigger and grander versions of what we do without losing the like sparkle in the eye that I think there's a, I don't know, tongue-in-cheek beauty in the sort of smallness of the feel sometimes, if you know what I mean. And I wouldn't want to lose that. I would hate for us to go full sort of grandeur, big stage and lose what we are at our heart. Like
Sure.
the integrity is massive. So I think the balance is get as much of the additional scale as we can whilst maintaining that DNA and identity of being sort of wink, wink, nudge, nudge in the right way. I think we're treading that line really well at the moment. I'm really happy with it. And I actually don't think you have to stay small to keep that. I think you can grow, as we've shown that we've had.
Yeah.
I think we are the fastest growing MMORPG in the world right now. And we've got more mind share than any other MMO in the entire planet with old school RuneScape. That's wild. And I don't think we've lost any of our identity. If anything, it feels...
Just think about that. Like when they started old school, who would have ever thought that 13 years after the re-release of it, like we'd be seeing it being the fastest growing MMO in the world? That's insane.
Like it comes through better today than it did even a few years ago. I think that's a collective view from the community as well. So I like the trajectory we're on. And really my answer would be, for the future, I'd like to just extrapolate what we're doing for 5-10 years. There's no reason why we couldn't be the biggest while staying exactly the same feel as we currently have. And then for the franchise, it's a similar story. I think for RuneScape, or RuneScape 3 as most currently call it, they're not on the same trajectory. And it's very clear that we're pushing very hard to bring us back to that trajectory at the moment. And that's all by focusing on integrity. It's integrity of the visuals, integrity of the gameplay, integrity of the monetization. And at the moment, I don't see a reality where we have that kind of trajectory without making big changes to all of them. And so the team on RuneScape are like pouring blood, sweat, and tears into making that happen. Like the lift is insane at the moment. I genuinely admire the team that are doing it. And then on Dragon Wilds, the newest member of the stable, it's still in early access, right? So it's kind of not a fully built product yet, but we're approaching on 1 million units sold for that game, which suggests that it is as popular as we hoped it could be. And while Boti and Co were in the building recently, I was talking to them a bit about it, because Boti, I think, streamed it with Foe and Skill Specs. Yeah. I enjoyed that content a ton. Like genuinely, I thought it was some of the best that I'd watched. And I want to get the full game next year, once it releases, back into hands of people like those, to see what the even more RuneScape-y, much bigger, much grander, more open world environment does in the hands of some of our biggest creators. So there's lots in there, but I think each leg of the kind of three-legged animal that is RuneScape has a ton ahead of it for the next couple of years.
Are there more legs planned? And what games, if you could, I mean, you probably can, because you're the CEO. You're like, I love these game genres, I love these games, make a RuneScape version. If I was to put you on the spot and be like, what kind of game would you want to, not emulate, I don't want to, like, we shouldn't be derivative, but any other games you'd love to make for RuneScape?
I genuinely think the RuneScape products we have right now are the best versions of RuneScape that could exist.
Okay.
I'm obviously biased, but I'm also not a game designer, right? Like you say, I'm the CEO. So I would ask Kieran and Co that question. Maybe you already have. I actually think that what we have is super special and has a ton of potential. Put it this way. If I could invest a ton in old school RuneScape, or that same amount of resource into building something new, 10 times out of 10, I would invest it in old school RuneScape. And that's exactly what we're doing. Like next year's roadmap, I'm going to be careful not to leak anything, don't worry. Next year's roadmap is insane. It's by far the most exciting year I've ever seen. That's also true for RuneScape 3.
Yeah.
So I actually think we're putting our dollars in the right places already.
I've got a question.
That's crazy. The most, really, like even beyond sailing, like that's crazy. Raids 4 must be an absolute bang, because Raids 4 is coming out next year.
Less to do with us, more about brother product RuneScape. You mentioned the trajectory they're on and like the big changes we need to try and reverse that or change the trajectory. That must come with like a pretty big risk attached to it too. So how did you go about making that decision? How can you almost, was it tough to bring the board and Co on? You mentioned when you were serving on the board, it's the big thing of like minimizing the risks. And
the boards are representatives of the shareholders that own the business. And they chose to try and own the business, making a purchase, making an investment, because they understood exactly what needed to happen and they were willing to take that risk.
Okay.
And so I'm really lucky, we all are actually, that we have backers behind us that aren't doing the normal thing that you might expect our shareholders to do, but are instead saying, be bold, make big swings. Like, we really believe in these assets. And that's exactly how I feel too. So it's actually quite aligned, at least between me and the board, but also between the teams that I speak with. Like when I speak with you and the various members of your team and also of the RuneScape teams, there's nobody shaking their heads. I think we all know it's the right thing to do. But you're right, it is a massive financial risk And I said on a video recently, we won't get through this making the same amount of money, frankly, that we currently do from microtransactions if we change the way that we monetize the game. And that is a trade-off that has to come with a benefit. And I think that benefit is being able to bring the game back to a position of growth, not immediately, but over time with a ton of integrity additions, removing as much as we're adding, and also just treating the game like a game that you expect to exist for 25 more years. So I think we can get to that point, and the risk is very quantifiable on the financial side, how much we have at stake. The risk is much less quantifiable on how much growth we could see.
Sure.
But even in very recent history, we've been at much higher levels than we currently are. So it can be done. I believe it will.
Me too. That's really reassuring. I think that also is how a lot of people have felt for quite some time.
Yeah.
Even looking at old school, we weren't immediately the success we are today.
No.
And we haven't even fully realized our potential. 2013's release, great numbers on day one, week one.
Then it
It stopped.
Yeah.
And it was only 2015, cool, some new unique content comes into the game. Slight growth, and then it's mobile. That was like really like, oh wait, awareness everywhere else. And it's been up since then.
Yeah.
But that's a good 5-year journey.
Yeah.
I mean, people
Yeah.
take that for granted sometimes.
And it wasn't just mobile alone that did it, right? Mobile gave us a huge influx. COVID certainly helped with everyone being around, but
There's thousands of decisions
Yeah.
that got you there.
the reason people stuck is because we had content.
Totally.
And content that resonated with players.
Yeah.
And
Do you remember the like early assets and stuff that were just like respectfully recolored versions of things that already
Nightmare Zone.
exist?
Yeah,
It's still
I-
there.
Nightmare Zone, yeah, it's a lovely little
I do.
archive item. Do you remember Mage Arena 2 when that released and it was like 3 greater deals?
That was
I
the
do.
first project I had
remember it.
given. Yep.
remember
And
it.
I fought neck and tooth to
Such
try
low
and
quality update. Holy
get that
fuck.
through the polls with everything. And eventually it did. It was one of the first wilderness content pieces that passed,
Yeah.
which was an achievement, I think, on, that I'm proud of at least. But my God, the actual execution of it in the end, and it was less than ideal.
Yeah, totally. But I think it's easy to forget those humble beginnings.
Yes,
When you
we
look
were-
at what exists now with sailing and
Yeah, we
it's
were
insane.
a team of like, 17, 18, maybe
Yeah.
20 at most back then. Even when you joined, it was even smaller.
Yeah.
I think I was
So, yeah.
JMod on the news post, probably 10th JMod on the list or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Nice.
It's wild. And now it's 4 or 5 times that. It's just crazy. Plus
Yeah.
all the other, hundreds of people that help support in other ways. I'm curious to hear, we've spoken a lot about, you think we do things really well. What specifically do you think it is that we do so well on old school?
It's alchemy, isn't it? It's like, it's not we're really good at art or we're really good at balancing. We are good at all of those things, but there isn't one specific thing. I think the thing that we do better than most, I think our superpower is self-awareness and community interaction. I think those are the two things. I think we are genuinely more democratic than any other games company in the entire world. We're generally more collaborative with our community than any other community in the entire world. And I also think that we're so self-aware and slightly like tongue-in-cheek on everything. We never take ourselves too seriously, that it
is
keeps
nice.
us approachable.
That is actually just so accurate. I think because of RuneScape, because of all the failures they've had and like all the rough patches and almost like lack of respect for many years, it just felt like Jagex. I mean, even to this day, you could still argue they don't have the most, they're not the most respectable company. You just hear the name Jagex and you're not thinking like Sony or just, I guess that's not a gaming company necessarily, but you just don't, it's fucking Jagex, like Gagex, like it's whatever. But I'm impressed with how much shit they've gone through, and I think that's the reason why we're in such a self-aware state. Like, don't fuck things up. Things can go horribly bad. Let's stay like true to what we do have, and let's be very, very aware of what the community's saying. So we got it really good, and I think it's all because of the rough patches in the past.
If you lost that approachability and the team felt further away from the community, I think we'd start to see the wallpaper peeling off the wall pretty quickly. So I think that kind of speaks to that wink, wink, nudge, nudge, sparkle in the eye that we need to preserve while we grow.
Has there ever been a point in your time as CEO or even when you were in a board where the level of openness we have within the community was perceived as being a problem or an issue or a risk, something a little bit more on the negative side? Because not every studio does it, right? And they have their reasons behind it. I think we are one of the only ones that have the ability for you to reach out to a design director on X and they'll respond to you, or a thread engaged on Reddit or on Discord.
I mean, you'll be able to speak to times when it's been a challenge for the community, but I think for the business, yeah, it's a challenge, right? I mean, the polling system alone creates a bunch of restrictions that most companies don't have, most studios don't have. And so, like I said at the beginning, our ability to surprise and delight is really hampered. Our ability to release big, new, long-term features is hampered. And our ability to make very unpopular decisions that are in the interest of the game, but most single individuals would say that I don't really want that, is also just really hampered. And so, of course, it comes with its drawbacks, but all in, I'm really grateful we do it the way that we do it. And I wouldn't take a step back from the way that we do polling or any of that.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Last question on this subject of good. I've got to do the flip side. What is one thing that you think that we don't do very good at the moment that we should be improving on?
I think sometimes we can be slightly self-deprecating in a way that's a step too far. There's a ton to be proud of. And actually the fact that we are in the position we are as one of the biggest games in the world and one of the fastest growing games in the world speaks to the legitimacy of what we do. And I think sometimes it's easy to remember too recently the Mage Arena 2 release days, or we were 17 people, and lose sight because of how much has happened in the meantime of what we are now, which is a bit of a powerhouse, honestly. If on our best day, we're extraordinary. And I think sometimes we lose sight of what we would be able to do because the memory of what we were doing yesterday is still so recent. So if we were going to be a bit more ambitious, a lot more ambitious, what would that look like? And oftentimes those conversations are more uncomfortable than talking about challenges that we're actually having, which is quite a Jagex thing. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
it makes
does
perfect
for
sense.
sure.
I'm certainly guilty of it, which isn't great because I'm marketing. But I'm looking at things like, and you know what? I'm really, really happy with the progress we're making with anti-cheat really recently.
Yeah.
But there are times when I've been reluctant to, I've wanted to almost tone down messaging. I don't want to overpromise because I'm like, actually, we could just get called out on, bot situation and stuff like that too, which then, as you said, kind of hinders reach, hinders ambition.
Yeah, totally. Just for clarity though, I'm not suggesting that we should be more boastful. I don't think that's us at all. Of course. And we shouldn't be starting to run victory laps because, we haven't won anything. But I think when we think about what we could do in a year or 2 years, that's where I'd like to see us just thinking a little bit more ambitiously.
Sweet.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
I think it's completely fair because I do genuinely believe there's a lot of good that we do that other people should know about that don't know about, especially within the industry. I think in terms of gaming communities, people know old school for what it is. They know Jagex for what it is and the good and the bad that comes with that.
Yeah.
But I think within the industry, we're still relatively unknown, so to speak, especially considering our size. I've been at various different talks and panels and spoke about community and the way that we handle it there, for example. And I'll have people coming over to studios just, they didn't even know that we existed. And the fact that we're able to go out and do what we do, how does it work? I want to learn more. And that's something that I'm really passionate about. And I would love to, when time allows, is find more time that we can knowledge share within the industry, because I do think we are leaders, especially in areas around community, around marketing, and around our interaction between development and community.
Totally.
That is unparalleled. And I want to see the gaming industry as a whole improve. So it's a selfless act, so to speak, but I also don't want to make everyone suddenly be, the next old school RuneScape, but there's definitely got to be something there.
I fully agree. I think one of my personal ambitions, and this is going to sound all a bit corporate, but I genuinely mean it, is for Jagex, one of my personal ambitions for the next 5 years is to be the change we want to see in the industry. And that doesn't mean that we won't do things that are controversial. It doesn't mean that we won't do things that are unpopular if they're right for us. But it does mean that we can set the direction. So the direction we're heading in with RuneScape 3 is very different to the direction that almost every other game studio is heading in. We're seeing more microtransactions and more mounts and more advertising and more expansion packs. And we're going exactly the opposite way.
Hell yeah.
Which is super unusual, but something I'm proud of. I want us to be the contrarians on that. And we're seeing less community interaction and less value for money and less legitimate fair proposition. I think we're doing the opposite with old school. And I like that we're becoming banner carriers, I think, for the way that we're headed. And I see that on the YouTube videos that we release and the Reddit posts. And, there are tongue-in-cheek comments all the same, but I think we are heading in the right direction. I'd love for others to do the same.
Well, it's a tough one. I'll be honest, and I think viewers might also feel this. We don't want to have a podcast with a CEO where we're like, tell us all the good stuff. We're going to make this mega corp. we want to be able to grill you.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've done that.
Well,
to an
grilled me?
extent. Yeah.
No, grill me.
It wasn't anything I was holding back.
Oh, right.
It was more of
Okay.
a general statement.
How do you feel, Swede? Let it out.
Yeah, what other secret are you going to reveal on this cast?
Tell me what you're upset
seriously.
about.
Oh, okay. So I was just alluding to the fact that I don't know why I've been doing this, but unprompted, just revealing secrets about like my RuneScape history.
Self-destructive North.
It is a bit of a self-destructive streak. Awesome. But I can't think of anything else today, but maybe that'll be for next week's podcast.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, in terms of like, if I was to directly, use this opportunity to grill, I genuinely don't have anything negative to bring forward, because I think that the things that have frustrated me working at Jagex for the longest time of being here, you came in and you've looked to solve them, and you've instilled confidence and faith that they will get resolved. I really love the way that you kind of like handle yourself, the fact that we can just sit here and chat the way that we do. It's almost like maybe that's a negative. Sometimes it doesn't feel like you're a CEO.
I mean, good.
But
right?
yeah, I
His
find that as
grill
a
is
What
a
does a CEO
glaze.
feel like?
yeah, it's
Serious?
sometimes
I mean,
unapproachable.
What good's that, right? If I can't be approached, it's a very expensive way to keep a seat warm, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's not who we need to be. As much as I talk about the games growing and the games being big, we're a small business. Like we are, objectively. You compare us to EA or Activision or something, we're minuscule, but we punch so far above our weight. And the worst thing I think that could happen is there's a leadership team or executive team or a CEO that behaves in the way that a megacorp would require in a place like this. I don't think that makes sense for us.
I mean, I'm not gonna argue against it. I've not had the pleasure of working at EA or Blizzard or any of those to know what it'd be like. So I'm
Pleasure.
happy with what I experienced here, and that's it's really good. But there is genuine truth behind that. Is that I could say that I'm frustrated around how long it's taken for us to have a proper focus on player support. But I also know that we've been doing tremendous efforts to improve that, and there have been now two instances where we've updated the community on it to show the commitment to it. I see the changes coming forward. Yeah, sure, some of them could come through a little bit faster, but it's not easy. So I've really genuinely valued the kind of like push and the passion that you've had for genuine improvements, the fundamentals, because the way I've seen it is that I feel like old school especially, we do what we do and we do it well. We know how to deliver content to the players now. We know how to talk to the players. We know how to market the players. And yes, there's always improvements. But I've always felt like the things that hold us back are those that are outside of our team. And it's almost as if you kind of like came in like this huge eagle, swooped them all up and took them away to your nest to improve them and bring them back.
Okay.
It's a great analogy, wasn't it?
I had an answer package and I've lost it in the eagle thing, but
Can you do an eagle impression?
no, I can't. So I think I think there's a bit of that player thing coming through, right? If you were a player and you got a chance to be CEO for a day, what would you do? And if you take the crazy stuff out for a second, you go hard on player support and you'd fix bots.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. Like it's really that simple. It's not me doing it. It's teams of people doing it. And there's like 100 collective individuals making this happen. And it hasn't been the overnight shift that many of us would have wanted. But I am deeply proud of the direction that we're heading on both. We banned 80,000 more bots than usual in the last 3 weeks alone. Like it's hard and it's an arms race.
That's
but we're swinging for the
insane.
fences on this stuff because I think the players amongst
What
us know
fucking
that.
bots? I see the same ones
It's
all the
important.
time.
I'll echo what he's saying around like
Like who
you've
are
come
the
in, it feels like
80,000? Where?
all the
All
obstacles or
free to play?
barriers to being like, I wish I could do this, but I don't feel like I can be as effective because of things outside of my control. I feel like they're moving or they're gone already. And then the onus is now on me to be like, all right, you said you could do more. If we got rid of this, go and do it.
That's exactly where I want us to be.
Yeah, and
So when I
that's-
come to you with a big, leery, ambitious idea, I want to see the whites of your eyes, obviously, because it's like it should be scary.
Yeah.
But if there's no more reasons that we can't do it,
Go do it.
go do it.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
that's the feeling like you kind of have instilled, which is, and also there's kind of some existential stuff like, wow, this is a big change. Can I do this? Do I have this in my wheelhouse? Like I've been used to doing well with fewer resources and more obstacles. Can I then do more with more resources and fewer obstacles?
I mean, Alan Walker playing Sea Shanty 2 at the top of Tomorrowland on a Saturday night at 10 p.m. suggests that you can.
Yeah.
And it suggests that we can.
Yeah.
And what does that look like if you
Exactly.
take it to its conclusion, right?
That's where I'm feeling now with it. It was more of like in the transitional period. It
Yeah.
was like, do I have that in my wheelhouse? Do I have the skill set? Do I have it in my locker?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, no, I'm confident I can, and I'm pretty sure we've got way more we can do.
I'm looking forward to the day where my excitement and ambition is totally eclipsed by the excitement and ambition of people coming to me with ideas. I think we're getting to that point, which is super encouraging for me.
I feel like you've woken up the studio. You kind of shook us around like, no, come on, do more.
No, I like what you mentioned there in terms of like waking the studio up, because it's very easy to be complacent in what you're doing when you feel like you're doing okay. And, we see number go up.
Yeah.
Not just in game, but also out of game in regards to membership. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we just carry on doing what we're doing. This formula does work. And sometimes it does take someone to just come in and be like, okay, yeah, it works, but what else works if you have more? And that's been a really interesting challenge to kind of like go through.
I definitely wouldn't say that the studio is waking up. It's not been asleep, right?
No.
It's been gunning for a long time, and under previous leadership as well. So I definitely wouldn't say that this is on me in any way. I think the studio's done this. What I would say, though,
I use it as just a sweetheart.
There's oftentimes
you
occasions
can't say
where
anything
somebody
negative.
would give me an idea of something amazing we could do, and then I'll ask, why can't we do it? And then there'll be a long pause, and then kind of a smile. Where it's like, actually, we could just do it.
Yeah.
Well, go on then. I think that's it's hard to understand why there's go on then necessary, but I think that's less and less necessary with every day.
Moving away from RuneScape, away from Jagex, we love hearing more about the person as well. You mentioned you're really fucking busy, but let's go back to a time before when you weren't so crazy busy. What kind of hobbies, what other games, if you played games outside of RuneScape and stuff, what were you into?
Yeah, I played some games. It's funny, isn't it? Like, RuneScape players are often only RuneScape players.
So many people.
I was one of those.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like, I've got my pocketed games that I did play and would play, and I played Silksong like everybody else, so I can make the small talk over cocktails or whatever. But no, RuneScape has been sort of my one and only, really, for a long time. The last game that really got me was Elden Ring.
Yep.
The one before that really got me was not Tears of the Kingdom, but Breath of the Wild, and that's 10 years ago. So I think that gives you an idea.
That's disgusting.
It was not 10 years ago. Stop it.
I know, it's great. I think it's more than that.
That is actually crazy.
I know, it's absolutely grim. But those were the last two that sort of had me leaning in, and I've played every other Skyrim mod under the sun as well.
Yeah,
They're
what
all
up, Cinderless?
But yeah, no, Old School and RuneScape have been the sort of one true love.
How about other hobbies and stuff? We had...
honestly, that's a good thing for the CEO of Jagex to be a true scaper. He's not a gamer, he's a scaper. I appreciate it.
Earlier recording, most recent one with Mod Rice, he's into swordsmanship and metallurgy and smithing.
Oh, shit. They're much cooler than mine.
Oh, go on then.
Yeah, RuneScape. I think before this, I spent a lot more time traveling, spent a lot more time exercising.
Bro, if Prison Joe got Mod North on the cast or on his show, that would be genuinely like, I'm pretty sure Mod North would say to scrap the whole thing. Like if Prison Joe were to go full on hard on Top Tuesday, it would Mod North would be like, cancel us, don't publish it, do not publish it, But so if he goes like mildly hard on him and kind of grills him in some things, I honestly feel like Mod North's gonna be like, edit that part out, edit it out. You know what I mean? I just, again, this is assuming Prison Joe would not glaze him, who would actually like put some controversial stuff in his, it would be crazy. That would actually be
different
awesome.
forms. I played squash semi-professionally a long time ago. I played rugby semi-professionally a long time ago.
Oh, sweet.
All kinds of different sports. Used to be really into rock climbing. I'm an avid scuba diver. I've been doing that for 15 years. I'm an instructor, believe it or not. There was a point in time where I was trying to figure out if I should go and teach kids how to dive or RuneScape. I picked RuneScape. A bunch of other hobbies as well. I like to ski when I can. I think the dream life would be diving in the summer, skiing in the winter, playing RuneScape in between. Genuinely, that's kind of what I'd like the sweet spot.
Pretty damn bliss.
How good does that
Honestly.
sound?
It does.
Exactly. But at least for now, it's more of one and less of the others.
Okay. A ski instructor, that's cool. That's kind of what I was trying to get at earlier when I mentioned like what else would you do, or like any kind of pipe dreams or side dreams.
Skiing instructor, scuba diving instructor, RuneScape
Yeah.
connoisseur. Love it.
I'd also love to be an engineer. I know that's a rubbish choice, but I would.
Engineer. What would you make?
Yeah. Like a civil engineer. I'd like to make a bridge.
Okay, a bridge.
Something like that.
Interesting.
I've always been a math guy more than anything.
He's got a bridge
maths
to
for the
sell
English
us.
audience. And sometimes it feels like the maths has been wasted on Excel instead of a bridge.
Okay, a bridge.
Wouldn't it be nice to
Interesting.
build something you could touch?
It's really strange that you say that. I'm just going to let you into a little bit of like, my life here now, North. In the first time that I saw you,
Yeah.
I thought to myself, holy
He's gonna glaze him so hard right here. I can just tell.
Shit, this guy looks just like my uncle. And you look so similar to my uncle. You sound very similar to my uncle. Your mannerisms are very similar. I'm almost as if he's like, you're a version of him for another world.
Right, okay.
He's a civil engineer. So you just saying that now makes me think even more so. There's something more going on here.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's weird that you say that, nephew. Sorry, Aiza.
So I'm going to ask you a question that we asked in the last cast. I thought it was actually really cool, hence why I'm bringing it back again. Sorry, Sween. This is going to be a new feature from now on.
Go on.
We've got like, what other job would you do? And I want to know, what other life would you live if you could live in another world? If it was like a fantasy world, different setting.
feature.
He would want to be a player in old school RuneScape, like the avatar of an old school RuneScape player that goes for 200 mil all. Can you imagine how that would be hell? You know what I mean? Like, you spawn in on Tutorial Island and you're like, oh, hell yeah, like I'm in this new world. Like, this is my new life. But then you realize the guy that's controlling you is going for 200 mil all in his basement. And you're like, fuck. You're just preparing to click on 7 million rocks.
No, it is.
We can't isekai everybody.
No, we can isekai everyone.
Okay,
if you suddenly...
It's better than spawning in on Tutorial Island and then all of a sudden you get you're so excited about this new experience you're experiencing as a player in old school. And then all of a sudden you show up at the GE and put your fucking royal gown on with your black cane or your royal scepter and you start spamming about some fucking gambling shit. Oh my God, that would be hell. That would be a living hell to have to experience that. Luckily, they'll take you out soon, so your life won't be that. Well, those bots actually last quite a bit, but yeah.
You found yourself reborn in another world. What would your dream life look like that isn't scuba diving, skiing, and playing RuneScape? Because they don't. Well, they might exist, but not for this answer. Okay. You could be like a fantastic superhero. You could be an elven warrior. You could be a
this
blacksmith.
is fantasy.
Anything you want. What is your dream?
You could build Stampot Bridge in RuneScape.
New world. You get reborn.
I think we should, for what it's worth. Like, unironically, I think we should. We'll come back to that. Again, I'm not a designer. What would I do if it was like a high fantasy sort of environment?
Any fantasy setting.
Yeah.
You ever play...
It would have been so funny if Aiza was like, you could be anything in the world. You could be my uncle. Like, you could be my uncle. Like, do you want to be in that reality where you are my uncle? And it just gets weird, really quick.
Ark survival.
I did, yes.
Yeah, you ever tamed dinosaurs?
Yes.
That.
Okay.
I'd do that. I'd have a ton of them.
Tamer.
I'd have a total plethora of dinosaurs, and I'd probably run an island, big hog roasts. I'm assuming there's pigs.
You want an island?
That sort of
It's
thing.
your world.
But yeah, I feel like it should be. Not this one, that one. But I feel like sort of riding...
that's a step up from CEO, isn't it?
Yeah. This is what people assume that you're like in person. And I think sort of dinosaur taming, probably running a little island somewhere beachy, tropical. That'd be pretty sweet. It'd be exotic. There's a company right now, a friend of mine's a banker and he's invested in this. There's a company that is reanimating direwolves and they've done it. And the next step is they're looking at lizard DNA.
Okay.
And you can imagine what you do with lizard DNA if you've reanimated a direwolf. I'm not saying it's Jurassic Park.
Okay.
But it sounds...
Are you saying they've come out with the Archaea spell, like the Archaea spellbook's a real thing? Like they made the Archaea spellbook from old school RuneScape into a real thing? Is that what they're trying to say?
Getting
like
pretty
Jurassic
close
Park.
to Jurassic Park, yeah.
I kind of think that's insane.
Direwolves, lizards, woolly
Yeah.
mammoth next.
So I think I've got quite a cool opener at cocktail parties, but that guy's just made a direwolf.
I mean, how do you top that?
Yeah, right.
I mean, you could put the Yammer
That's
name
how
back on me and I'll pretend.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Do you have, and this is a really shit question to follow up, I'll be honest with you. Your ideal bridge, let's say Jagex just... All right.
Stampot.
Your ideal bridge.
No.
This podcast has gone to
earlier.
3 questions ago, we were solid. This is like an absolute embarrassment now.
Wooden
I'm halfway
planks.
through the question.
Go on,
You jump in again.
commit to it.
Laser.
Ask the question.
Jagex and RuneScape, the turnaround for RS is complete. Old school grows to massive levels, and we are unparalleled levels of success.
Yeah.
And we've got the board are like, you know what, Mod North, you've earned this. Here is budget to build a bridge for Jagex in some new HQ, and you get to do that.
This is a disaster question, Swain.
Okay.
What's the bridge to?
This is more for you. Like,
I see.
There's a bridge in the HQ.
Yes, your
You can do what
bridge
you want. It could be a bridge from the foyer into your office if you wanted it to be.
That's a staircase. I've got one. I mean, I don't know.
I was going more along the lines of like aesthetics and stuff. There was architectural philosophy.
In my head,
Golden Gate,
yeah.
is it New Millennium?
Exactly.
Yeah, I know it's not my question, but in my head, I'm picturing like a bridge.
Answer it anyway.
That's a xylophone.
Okay.
So when you walk over it, it makes like
You just like, what the fuck? What are you saying? A bridge that's a xylophone? What is happening here?
I see.
and it crosses between one section of the floor to the other. You know how we've got the auditorium, the big section? Imagine a big xylophone bridge across that when you jump over it. Like, I'm just there prancing like,
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
That's it. We'll cut all this out.
Yeah.
I think if I was going to pick a style, imagine the sort of Tob environment. I can never say it's Versinzana or whatever it's actually called. The bit in Maya Ditch. And it's all very gothic and architectural. I think the world needs more of that.
Okay.
And so if I was going to design anything, it would be very ornate, very traditional, like a vampire built it.
There we go. We got through that one.
Barely got through it. Jeez.
Okay, I've got a serious question. Actually, I have a serious question.
Please.
You're hiring a new person in a leadership role at Old School. What does good leadership look like to you?
So first and foremost, I wouldn't hire the person
User
into
needs
Old School. There's a guy who works for me called James. He's our SVP product. He would hire a leader of any of the products, and he's been a designer and a studio manager for a very long time. He's very good at this stuff. But what would I hope to see in that person is somebody who doesn't see a game that is an opportunity to put their own mark on something. I think Old School and RuneScape both have enough of their own identity and enough of their history and heritage and gravitas that the last thing they need is somebody coming in to make it their own or trying to fix it. I think there's got to be a ton of self-awareness, very low ego, but also a real sense of ambition, and ideally an understanding of what, like, our team's quite unique. I mean, your team in particular is not, you couldn't plug and play and replace it with a brand new team from an outsourced shop or from another studio. Like, the DNA is really unique compared to any other place that I've ever seen. And so they'd need recognition of that fact. Like, treat this thing carefully.
Yeah, that was
makes perfect sense.
Really good answer.
For what it's worth, I think the leader that we have in Old School is those things.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I mean, best leader we've had for Old School since beginning.
I think he'll be very happy to hear that.
Yeah. We've learned a lot over the years as a product, and he just hears and he asks questions, which is the most important, like a very important trait for a leader.
I also like as well how Marcos is not afraid to challenge if he feels like something isn't right or is right and we feel otherwise. And I think that always promotes some really healthy discussions. And I think it takes a pretty good leader to be able to be in that kind of situation, to manage those well. So big fan.
I think that's right. When I left the studio 10 years ago, Marcos, I think is his mod name. He was in a totally different role, different product. And then coming back to Jagex 10 years later, seeing him in this role was like that makes sense kind of moment. And I think that's felt across the team.
What content creators do you enjoy watching? Should you have time to do so?
Been enjoying Guzu recently.
Yeah.
Damn it.
It's nice to see somebody experience the early game. I've watched Boaty since he started streaming. I've watched Skillspecs, Torvesta, a bit of Odablock here and there, mostly on sort of clips channels and whatever else. I've watched, honestly, everybody. The couple that I haven't, I'm not sure why I'm calling them out.
He watches everybody.
Tanzo and Vitoso. Those are the two that I hadn't spent much time with until Gillenor Games, I think. And so I've been sort of on a binge watching them back from the early days.
He watches you guys.
Most
watches
of them.
everybody.
When I said that I'm sort of a true believer RuneScape guy,
knows when you're awake.
Actually am.
Yeah, Tanzo and Vitoso, I don't know why they don't get enough recognition. I don't think they talk about themselves enough. Probably similar to how you feel about us on Old School in terms of ambition for reach.
Oh, the other one is Chris Archie. Happy birthday, by the way. He's the other one. Back in the Snakebite and Fringe days.
Yeah.
All the way back. No one's perfect before he was Chris Archie.
But he sure is.
I love when there's a post on the Reddit and it's like, anyone remember Chris Archie or happy birthday Chris Archie? I'm blessed enough to be a really close friend of Chris's, and whenever I see those, I'm like, hey dude, send him that link, and he fucking hates it.
I bet he does.
And we had this conversation with Torvesta on the podcast recently, which was Archie
Torvesta
has kept all those videos up, which shows.
Has he?
Yeah, that's impressive, man.
I'm not sure I'd have it in me to do that. No offense, Chris, but it's a couple of different lives ago, isn't it?
Did you just call him Chris? Wait, what did he call him?
With Torvesta on the podcast recently, which was Archie has kept all those videos up, which shows.
Has he?
Yeah, that's impressive, man.
I'm not sure I'd have it in me to do that. No offense, Chris, but You know, it's
I thought he
couple of
was
different lives
addressing
ago, isn't it?
Mod
is,
Swing.
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
his name's
But
Alec.
if you ever want to make him feel uncomfortable, all you have to do is talk about those.
Do you know, I do want to make him feel uncomfortable. That's the funny thing. I saw him at the summer party.
Yeah.
And I haven't spent much time with Chris. Obviously, I've been watching him for 15 years or something. So I've got this weird parasocial relationship. And I came into the studio having not really spoken to him in this job and said, oh my God, it's No One's Perfect at the summer party. I think he almost exploded. Sausage bun in hand, bless him. But yeah, he's a good egg. Do you know, I think, I'm on a ramble now. I think that time period, 2007, 2008, peak RuneScape music video, Chris Archie,
God,
Snake Bites,
yes.
Boomer Twins, Spark Mac peaking, those days, I think are ready to be tapped. And without giving anything away, I think there's a little slice of 2006, 2007 that we could be tapping. I think RSMVs,
I am so for RSMVs coming back again.
there's going to be
Yeah.
20 million 35-year-olds that feel something they didn't expect to feel.
Yep. Let's bring back the pop punk, the rock, the let the
New
bodies
metal.
hit the floor, whatever used to play. And
Yes.
yeah, I'm with you
Breaking
on that.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
Yes, all of that.
I think a lot of my actual interest in music are literally because of RuneScape PK videos from back in the day.
Literally, Elf Mage made me who I am.
Yeah.
Literally. Yankin D's. God, there's going to be 3 people who get that reference.
We may have already covered this in parts, but to be more specific, what is one thing that you would love for us to do with the community that we've not done yet?
We tend to ideate, share with the community, see what the community responds well to, and then do. I'd like more of an opportunity for the community to ideate and give to us.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yep.
I think we have a really good read collectively on the things that matter most to the community. And so this is not to undermine us, but it's we're quite structured in the way that we've run that kind of ideation versus feedback versus approval process. I'd love to see what happened if we flipped it for a week and did like a community game jam,
Yeah.
something like that.
I would love that. I
think it'd be
great.
interesting.
I mean, we have so many great ideas coming through from the community as it is anyway.
Slayer helm with a hood.
The Slayer helm with the hood, yeah.
Oh,
It's the number
shit.
one voted Reddit post of, I think it's actually the number one upvoted of all time on the subreddit now.
It's definitely near the top
That's
of
crazy.
It's definitely in the top
Crazy.
5 for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And then every time it gets up, it's like 6 to 10k upvotes each time. But it's
Holy
I think
fuck.
the difficulty is fitting it into the roadmap. I
didn't know
when, the roadmap is something that I'm sure you know yourself with the struggles of it being somewhat of an unknown, given the fact it needs polling and whatnot else.
Yeah.
That trying to add in an extra week of content that we don't even know about in the first place is very difficult. But I would love to be able to explore that.
Yeah, totally. That's kind of the T-Rex Fantasyland thing, but
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, something like that.
I think one of the last design competitions I think resulted in the banana hat being added to the game. So maybe you're thinking a bit more lofty than that.
I don't know. I like the hat. Something like that is also fine.
Well, we are planning to do a big competition for sailing where players will be able to design their own island.
I didn't know that. Oh,
yeah. It's going to be after launch now. So it was initially set to be before for the launch of sailing, but it's now going to be a post-launch competition. Yeah. So we've already let players design the
We
skill
do,
cape and the
don't
skill
we?
icon.
Do.
We've taken
Yeah, I saw
input
those.
for the pets.
That was a tight poll for the skill cape.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Single-digit percentage points difference.
Yeah, thankfully the two designs were relatively similar, and there's a lot of learnings that I think we can take from the way we handle competitions in terms.
yeah.
Like the problem is once we set them, we have T's and C's, and we have to stick to them because
island.
if we break them, you'll probably be coming to me for saying that legal are on my ass. So
Probably.
yeah. But that being said, yeah, there's going to be a player designed competition for an entire island.
We'll keep an eye out for any islands consisting of dinosaurs and hog roasts.
That's where we put Stampot Bridge in. The island is only accessible via Stampot Bridge.
I love it.
No teleports ever as a policy.
Usually, we will use some point in the podcast as an opportunity to ask you to ask us questions if you have anything that you want to ask either of us while you're here.
Yeah, what would you do today if you're in my job?
Oh, I was not ready for that.
Your turn.
Yeah. I'm going to just have to cop out and I'll just say I'm just going to carry on doing what you've been doing.
I've answered every single one of your questions.
Isaac.
Yeah.
God damn
I'll
it.
really
I asked
shit
your-
ones too.
You're
Yeah,
really shit
please
one.
again.
Yeah, exactly.
Give us something.
I don't know if that's it.
No, but I mean, honestly though, that I think that we're heading in the right direction. And I know that from working on the inside, things aren't just going to happen with the snap of a finger. I think if like selfishly, I would say that we should be investing more into the products than I'd like to be able to do that more than what we are now. And by that, I mean making the teams bigger. faster so that we can do more. I would love to see, for example, the marketing team double in size to what it is right now. I would push for the community team to be made bigger as well to support ongoing development increases.
Sounds like more of what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good sign.
I really love what we do. And I just want to do more of it.
Sween, you've had 40 seconds.
I've had a bit longer to think about it. I like how you come to us and be like, hey, here's an idea. So I would want to use that opportunity to come to people and be like, hey, I'm the CEO, idea. And then you're going to do something with it? I think that you mentioned like we have 3 fantastic games that are like the best representation of RuneScape.
Yeah.
And I think a RuneScape roguelite or roguelike would work really well.
That's what I was going to say.
We didn't, dude. You were the CEO a second ago.
No, but as you were talking, I was still going to be like, I'm going to wait till Sween's finished and be like, there's one thing that I would do, and that's make a roguelite ARPG.
Wait till Sween's finished, and then you can
go on, have your glory. Even though I pitched it back in 2018.
Sure.
I've got the design for it still.
I look at games like Hades, and I mentioned not wanting to be derivative, but Hades is a game with gods and equipment and upgrades, and Old School RuneScape is a game with gods and equipment and upgrades. I think there's something there. Tap into dungeoneering and geo expansion. I know we're constantly talking about localization and regions where we're not so present, but I still like that sometimes we look at there are regions where we're present, but we don't cater to them enough. And I think a big untapped market is Australia and New Zealand. They have very similar stories to us about when we were kids and playing RuneScape on Miniclip. And there are massive content creators down there who are like have huge audiences in their own NGO. And we don't really work with them enough.
Yeah.
We don't tailor our messaging enough to be more Australian focused. Yeah. I'm not obviously saying add the C word to everything we do, but I think there's a big untapped potential and quite an easy win there too. In addition to like the big lofty dreams around localization and hitting our real big regions as well.
That's a good point, isn't it? It's one of those natural limitations of literally being only online when they're offline and vice versa. Yeah. And being quite literally half a planet away. But in 2025 that probably shouldn't be a blocker. We're not literally sailing there. So I like that. I think it's a good idea. How to do that is the next question, but I'd be all for it.
I think the biggest fear that I have in terms of our expansion is how. Things like localization. What does that mean for the way that we engage with the community? Because at the moment it is very personal in the sense that we talk to players. If I'm talking to players in another language, well, I only know one language. So we're going to need more people. Yeah, for now. If we want to cover time zones that we don't cover at the moment, how do we do that effectively? That means more people. That means a bigger team. That's a lot more to consider. But it's one of those things that terrifies me for the right reasons, because I'm extremely excited by the prospect of it. And knowing that it needs to be done right is, I think, what scares me, because there's a very fine line between doing it and doing it right. And if you don't do it right, there's no point doing it, in my opinion. I think there's no point. It's a bit too harsh, just less value.
No, I actually think it is right. I think there's no point doing it unless you're going to do it right. And I think that's true of everything we do. I think there's a lot of people who feel that way, which is why we tend to do things, for the most part, generally right. I think, the expansion is an interesting one. When you sort of look at us versus another unnamed MMORPG studio, let's call them, Wizard, and you look at sort of how popularity is trending over time, it's quite neck and neck if you look at the US or you look at the UK. That's something I'm really proud of. And they both publish great games, us and them. And I think we tap somewhat similar audiences. I think we do a really good job. Then you zoom out to the global view and suddenly it looks radically different. Right?
Yeah.
They've done an awesome job over the last few years of spreading the message internationally. And sometimes I think we can get caught up thinking, this is quite an Anglo-centric game. It's very Monty Python in its humor. I'm not sure that I agree that it's restricted to what we currently operate in. I think we can go broader, and I would like us to. And so, as you'd expect, there's work happening to make that happen.
I also, one of the things I didn't mention that I would, but I also know that we're looking into it. We said as much publicly, but it's just expanding our reach in terms of regions for worlds, right? Yeah. We have the ability to now scale up in the cloud, and we should be supporting the areas that we have a lot of players in better than we are, especially those in Asia. Even more worlds for Australians. And,
I don't know what I can say, what's already been announced, but that we are actively.
Yeah, we've said that, I think it was a part of the announcement around the pausing of Project Xanaris, but the work that went behind the scenes to enable things like AWS infrastructure will mean that we can support those servers. It's just going to take some time, and they're still working through that. But if I was to be CEO tomorrow, I'd be like, get it done.
So I feel like probably shared answer. You've set a good framework, or at least from what we can observe, of like how a player-driven CEO can operate and enable other people and empower other people to go and do good stuff, whilst also then having the kind of the freedom to be able to say, hey, here are some ideas I've got too.
Yeah.
So I think you mentioned learning on the job and nothing quite prepare you. I think similar to us, we'd probably look at the framework you've set, share ideas, and probably try and learn on the job, and then deviate if deviate.
I think we'd all take a pretty good swing at it. I'm certainly trying to. Yeah. Okay.
We appreciate all your efforts. So thank
Likewise.
you. Any other questions, or was that the one?
What should we be doing with the community that we aren't already doing? We do a lot on social. I think it's one of the best things that we do. I think we're really punching above our weight, and a lot of that's thanks to you. We do a lot on community. Same answer. What should we be doing with the many hundreds of thousands or millions of people that are interested that we don't currently do? What would you like to do if you could?
More in-person events. And that that doesn't reach the millions, because an in-person event, we can't run one every single day of the week in every single country at one time. But currently we have RuneFest.
Yeah.
And that is very restrictive, both in terms of ticket numbers, but also cost. It's very prohibitive getting to RuneFest. If we could take any slice of RuneScape to other places, I'd love that. And I'd love to be more experimental with it. We publish surveys like, would you want to see a tournament?
Yeah.
I'd love to see... I'm a big fan of this immersive theatre experience with Punch Drunk. I'd love to see some kind of like immersive RuneScape playing session or something like that. Just
if I could ask Mod North one question, what would it be? It would be, let me think about it.
That's interesting. LAN parties as well.
Totally.
Like, I've watched a lot of Smash Bros tournaments over the time, right? And like local finals, even Pokemon tournaments, like they are popular and they bring together communities in a way that is hard to do remotely.
Sure.
And we absolutely have the ingredients that could make for an awesome LAN party setup, especially if we had dedicated servers, world environments, mini leagues or something like that over a 2-day period, not over a week's period. What would that look like? I would love for us to have a roster of 50 LAN style events every year, all around the world.
I hadn't considered, but one of the big regrets I've got from when we were more focused around on esports and events, like 2018, 2019 kind of time, I think, is that we forgot the grassroots and we tried to go too big with our events. And then that, first of all, you need to have a successful grassroots to then have the ecosystem to fuel the big events, because otherwise it's just invite only, it's the same people. I would love to go grassroots, and I think LAN is a big part of that too.
Totally.
But then throwing up more smaller scale online tournaments, the Deadman beta days we used to run ahead of a finals just to kind of like test the tech. Those are really fun of their own right. You just spawn and then it goes straight into like the 1v1s or like the fog finale. You don't have to go through the week build up. Just more of those little things like that.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people see streamer house style environments and they see the real life interactions from things like the OTK event recently, but also from sort of finales from previous Deadman modes. Yeah. And there's a lot of, I wish I could have a bit of that, right? I think a lot of us over the years have done versions of 4 guys in a house for a weekend. Like, I don't know whether it's a double XP weekend in RuneScape or it's a new boss that's just dropped and people want to try it blind.
Ooh, I know what my question would be. I'm just interrupting right here. My question would be, when are we going to get a new permanent game mode, or are we going to get a new permanent game mode? That's what I want. That's what I want to know. He'll probably be like, I can't say anything. It'll be revealed when it's revealed.
And that happens, but we don't actually do very much to foster it.
Yep.
I would love to get to a position where we had the equivalent of those things happening in a sponsored environment that we could make special.
No, not
but then get
weekends.
A bit of coverage and a bit of support, and could turn into, who knows, the whole next generation of streamers coming up. Right? There's a lot of the old guard that are tremendous and always will be, and there's the Boaties and the Skill Specs and the Torvestas and the Soups and whatever else. I would love to see the next generation of those folk coming up now who might well be, 20 years old instead of a bit later. Maybe that's a way to foster it.
I think going more as well, there are more niche communities. Now, this is less about reaching the millions, but more just about kind of comforting the smaller niche communities. I think now that our game has grown so big, we've forgotten Pures and we've forgotten Skillers, and like, I'd love to do more there. And again, it's not about us going over the top with accommodating them. It's about, I think, giving the keys to them to support themselves, which I think is where, similar to the LAN stuff, I don't think we have to run 50 LAN events ourselves. We can just say, all right, you're like the official community rep. Here is a remit you have. You go and make the event happen.
I think that's a really good point. I think one of the benefits of old school, both games actually, is that you can have these classless perpetual progress accounts, right? And that's very much at the core of what we offer. However, I do think there was a time where everybody had a pure and some people had a skiller and one person had 200 million agility accounts. That kind of thing, those trophies.
Why would you
still
shout
get
out that,
them
man?
from people like Rendy occasionally with their series. But one thing that I woke up in the middle of the night like a few weeks ago. We made I think a change, or we proposed it to show a little icon next to people's names when they were playing on mobile.
Sure.
And I thought, okay, what could that be as a little status indicator akin to an Iron Man helmet that suggests that you're something that wouldn't be obvious unless you clicked right click and inspect, or right click look up, or right click
blast furnace.
equipment.
Yep.
How do we signal that and allow for trophies and status to manifest in ways that aren't the usual stuff?
Yeah.
I think that would be really interesting.
No, me too.
Speaks to kind of the heart of, I think, what a lot of our players like, what I like as well.
I mean, we've tried various things. I know we have the high scores that look at skillers and pures now, but that's out of game. It's not in game.
It's a few clicks away, isn't it?
It still requires someone to go look it up. So I actually like that a lot. I know you didn't necessarily direct it towards myself, but I'm going to input some anyway. I largely agree with Sween in terms of the things that we could do. I would also just really like to see more in terms of community engagement. And that's within my team. It's within my power to do that. We are working on it. But I want to see more events, more fun events that happen that are just for people to come together, hang out, and just have a good old time. And then the next level up from there is a better cadence of competitions. And I would really like, and I know I'm not saying this to try and steal it from you, we've spoke about it multiple times in the sense of fostering the PvP scene better than what we do right now. I want there to be a cadence of tournaments where we're helping fund prize pooling that eventually forms into a league that then accumulates into a finale that brings the top of each of those tournaments that happened over the course of 12 months into one final big LAN event. Because I think that
Here's the thing. I honestly feel like the official PK things they do are worse than the player run ones. Like the solo mission doing the, what was it called? All-Stars or not All-Star? What PvP? Was it All-Star? I can't even remember what all these names are. But I feel like the player run ones actually go better.
That would help breathe a lot of life into the PvP scene. And I think that it is within our power and also partly I wouldn't say our responsibility to make it happen, but to help curate the possibility of it happening.
Yeah, that's better.
And I would also really like us to bring back or have some form of launch parties for larger content that is a streamed spectacle. You mentioned, how you were saying, LAN parties, people coming together. There's nothing that we really have to kind of like promote that. Well, I'm imagining like a Super Bowl-esque where they have the kiss cam and we won't show awkward moments, but we have a video of someone that they're all together at the house and they're all playing this new boss, and we bring that up on the stream and we celebrate the fact that they're together. And it's like back in the day we did Dead Man, and we would have people's tweets, we would read them out, they would show that recognition. I think just being able to showcase how involved we all are would be really cool to do. I also know the challenges of doing like a launch stream when we have to fix the issues of something going live and everything else. But
I do love the idea though. I love the idea of having a moment in time, like, I don't know, first boss kill or Dead Man finale or something, running in conjunction with this kind of LAN party style setup. When like in the World Cup, they flick to pubs all around the world, right? You can see people celebrating a goal in their hometown for their team. I'd love to see a version of that, right? So I don't know, one person in Australia comes out on top of some tournament unexpectedly, and like there's some live feed from middle of the night Australia, and there's a reaction. Like, I think that kind of thing we could tap.
I think it sounds cool. I think the actual reality of it is very different from the thought and imagination of it, but
probably
if we could make it work, then
I feel look at what RuneScape did with the Race to World First.
Yeah,
I think
it's literally what I had in mind. Yeah, I think they did really
I was
good
thinking
job
the same
with
thing
that.
with a mascot, you mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
that was
but
an amazing finale.
Yeah, doing more of those, I think, would be very much welcomed.
No reason not to. Can have that conversation 50 yards away.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, all right, sweet.
Perfect. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I think maybe now is a good time to consider wrapping up the podcast. But we would love to have you back on again at some point in the future. Maybe after the player support improvement stuff is all out, and we can talk more around those changes and what that's meant and anything
I think
else.
Best time was going to be post-January when we go big with our comms.
The next 4 months are going to be insane. And I think coming out the other side of the next 2 or 3 will be a naturally good time to have a chat.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll save it till then. Thank you so much for your time.
Not at all.
I know
Thanks
that
for
it's
having me.
precious, but it's been thoroughly enjoyable.
Okay.
I hope you had fun too.
Thank you
it's
for
been
putting up
good.
with us. Yeah.
It's been good. No, not at all. It's been an experience.
Nice.
It's been eye-opening.
An experience. I'll take it.
No, it's
All
been
right.
good. Thanks,
Oh
mate.
God.
Yeah, well, if you don't hear from me in the next one, it's because there's a new community manager in
Oh,
town.
shut up.
And until then, we will see
This was
you
all a
next time.
test to
Thank
see
you
if
so
you
much.
Stay
Thanks,
community
folks.
manager. Wonderful job. I am a podcast listener. I know I do the Sae Bae cast, but I love that they have started their own because it allows me to consume content. So hell yeah, that was a banger. I am grateful for Mod North. He's great. And Mod Aiza, he's just cute. We must protect him at all costs. Like the other guy said, we must protect him. And I think Mod Sween there is very grounded. I love his presence. He's good presence, you know. So well done. But yeah, that was kind of fun. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.